So with tens of thousands of children now being housed along the Texas border and other places that they have been transported to all around this country by plane and train and bus, they're being sent to different communities. The White House says that most of them, in the end, they believe will be deported. But the Wall Street Journal telling a very different story this morning. They say that is not true. Most will be here for years to come. Many will stay permanently. Here's Democrat Henry Cuellar from yesterday.
Do you know that every day in Laredo, they're releasing about 250 individuals at bus stations? And if you include the Valley, that's another 250, 500 individuals every day. They send them over to a bus station. They buy a bus ticket. They go to Alexandria, Virginia. They go to New Jersey, New York. They're going to different parts waiting for a hearing that might take years before they have that hearing.
Well, he's been such a strong, clear voice on what's really going on here. The cost of that to U.S. taxpayers, probably incalculable at this time. Meanwhile, the Homeland Security Secretary says that the department will run out of money to deal with this problem by mid-August, most likely. Stuart Varney is here, host of Varney and Company. Stuart, good morning to you.
Good morning, Martha.
Boy, the numbers in this Wall Street Journal story this morning really tell a very different tale of what's going to happen here.
Well, they tell the clear, true story. In 2013, 3,500 minors were ordered to be deported. 1,600 of them actually left. Meanwhile, 47,000 arrived this year alone. In other words, of those children, those minors who are here now, very few of them will actually leave, and more are arriving all the time. We just heard Henry Cuellar there say 500 a day are being released to bus stations there. I want to quote from Doris Meisner. She's the former INS commissioner. Here's what she said. They're here, they're staying, and whatever else might happen to them is at least a year or more away. Meanwhile, all of these people have to be taken care of now, cared for, paid for now, and we have an extraordinarily large cost for educating and providing health care for all of them in the future. Costs are enormous.
Yeah, and of course, more money from taxpayers is the solution. According to the president, he wants $4 billion to try to handle just the issues that exist at the border. But there are citizens in this country, Stuart, who feel that's not fair. Here's a woman in Houston who was asked what she thought about all this. Let's play it.
Open the school up for them, really? Is that right? Do anybody think that's right? It's not right. Now billions of dollars want to be borrowed from the White House to help feed and house them. What about the kids here, in our neighborhood, in our country? Not just in this neighborhood, but in our country.
Ooh. She's got a point, and I'm sure she's not alone out there, Stuart.
Well, of the $3.7 billion that the president wants to take care of this problem, most of that money actually goes to caring for the people who are already here. It doesn't go towards securing the border to stop any more coming in. And they are coming in at a significant rate. That means we have an extraordinarily large cost that we must bear. We are obligated to bear this cost way into the future. I don't know, I can't put a dollar number on that cost, but it surely stretches to tens of billions.
You know, I mean, some people would look at the situation and say that they think that Democrats believe that ultimately that leads to more votes for them, that leaving that border open and bringing more people in helps them in the election booth, ultimately.
One has to ask, why is the president allowing this to happen? Why does he not stop that border and allocate money to border security? And the answer from many people, I agree, Martha, is that he is simply importing Democrat voters now and in the future.
We talked to Mike McCall yesterday, who believes that the trip is so dangerous for these children that is an unjust encouragement.
But you see, Martha, that's the other side of it, isn't it? America is a generous country, generous indeed, and I know that firsthand. How can you turn down these youngsters who arrive here with nothing? You know, that's the humanitarian side of it, isn't it? Not the political side, the humanitarian side of it. And I think every American, their heart goes out to youngsters in need like this.
I was watching one of the Catholic Charities volunteers talking about working with these children, and you feel their pain, absolutely. But it is a larger question that needs to be dealt with, and it's very hard to tell where the president stands on it at this point. Stuart, thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha.
For our viewers, there are countries that have been centered on this story for some time. Our border stretches for almost 2,000 miles here between southwestern California and southeastern Texas. But the principal illegals concerning today come from three countries: Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Because they are not contiguous countries with the United States, that's important based on the law that was passed in 2008. Advance at one time. These are the main Border Patrol areas where many of the illegals are also being housed. The Border Patrol area down here in Brownsville and also McAllen, Texas, where most of the headlines have been coming from in the southern tip of Texas. Another major area here in Nogales and another one in Chula Vista in California. In addition to those areas, you have processing centers where many of the illegals have been taken as well. Murrieta, California, which has been in the news significantly as well. The next map you will see are the military bases that are now absorbing some of the overflow from the Border Patrol areas and also the processing centers. One of them's out here in Oxnard, California. You've got another one here in San Antonio, Texas, and then you have Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. Keep your eye on that one in Oklahoma, because coming up on Monday, we're going to talk with Congressman Bridenstine. He was there the other day. Was not allowed entrance. The government says it's no problem. Come on in. You're welcome to do it, but he's going to be there on Saturday. We'll talk to him Monday based on his experience.
There's a lot of blackout in this story. I mean, they had a media day the other day that they wouldn't allow any cameras to. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions about freedom of the press here and how this story is not allowed to be reported at this point. We're going to stay on top of it and keep watching, of course, as all this continues to come out. So, meanwhile, take a look at this picture of the meeting that happened with Texas Governor Rick Perry and President Obama. You know, they say sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? The president seems to be, he's smiling. This is a 1 second, millisecond snapshot, but it does reflect something. President's smiling, having a good time. Look at Governor Perry. He doesn't look too happy. He's kind of grimacing over there at the end of the table. We don't know what was happening then, but I mean,
what they did after
on very
that,
different pages.
What they did after that meeting too. I mean, Governor Perry went down to the border, and the president continued with his tour down there. Twitter question: was it worth it to go to Texas? What do you think? Hit us up on Twitter at Martha McCallum and at Bill Hemmer, and we'll read some of your responses throughout the program today. The trip is over. It's done with. No visit to the border. Back to Washington we go. I
guess, it depends. Whether it was worth it depends on who you ask, right?
True story.
More coming up on that.